Hey guys, my name is Brandon and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you like what you see in here, you're more than welcome to hit the subscribe button so you stay notified every time I upload a new video. Okay, let's get straight on with today's video. Hey everyone and welcome back to Is That More Brandon. So in today's video I'm going to start doing the reviews to The Apprentice 2025, which was actually filmed in 2024, Series 19, the UK version. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, we have 18 people in the competition at the moment. Obviously while I'm filming this episode I've actually watched the first 6 episodes, so there have already been 6 people fired from the process, with the 7th one fired in the previous episode, which I'm still yet to watch. Hopefully we'll have watched by the time this video comes out. So yeah, as of now our 18 are now 11. So I just need to catch up and also kind of catch you guys up on what's happened so far. I have done a review for every single episode so far, so I will show you. These are my notes, one for every episode, and each episode I basically just put 2 pages worth of notes, so that's just how I do it. So yes, let's start. So at the beginning of episode 1 we obviously found out that there were 18 contestants going to be potentially one of Lord Sugar's business partners, and obviously just before, obviously I now have to do it kind of after I've already seen them all perform, but just kind of on terms of first initial instincts. So I'm just going to do it in the order that I've got them in on here. So we've got Nadia Suleiman. So she just came across very loud, confident, you know, like a fiery, strong woman. Mia Collins, again, she seems very intellectual. I think she has like a food company or a food business, so again it's like she must be good at being able to multitask and managing people in a team, and from the beginning she has been and continues to be one of my favourites. Obviously she's still in the process, hint hint if you haven't watched so far and you thought she'd gone, she hasn't. Malika Mashiri, again very female present, very, you know, confident, fiery. I think kind of sometimes gets involved in, like, she was getting involved in some sort of little debates and little disagreements and things, but so far so good, unless obviously she has been fired. Max England, again very confident, very strong. Liam Snelling and Kia Shave, so both of them probably the eye candy of the series, but again both seem very like they know what they're doing. Obviously Liam, yeah, he's not as vocal as some of the other guys in the process, but he is still able to kind of listen and actively, you know, join into conversations and things. Whereas Keir, he's already put himself forward as project manager a couple of times. So yeah, again, not 100% the ideal candidate, but at the same time he's got some good strengths that hopefully Lord Sugar sees in him. Jordan Dargan, I think he's from up north somewhere. He's got a very strong accent, just seems like a cheeky chappy. I think one of the younger ones in the series. Good vibes from him so far, again just trying to see what else he can bring to the table. Frederick Afrifra, so again with him, again very vocal, very confident, which is nice to see. We actually had 2 Emmas, so we had Emma Street. So at the beginning I thought she was one of the weaker ones, but with her input she does actually input slightly to some of the tasks. So I don't think as of yet she has been a project manager or sub-team leader, but she has been very vocal in whichever team that she's been on. She has had positive input and she's not, I feel like she's not afraid to show her emotion, but she just needs to speak up a little bit more, otherwise she will be one of those ones that just kind of fades away. And then you had Emma Rothwell, who again, so she's slightly hearing impaired, so it was nice to have some sort of inclusivity in the series. And yeah, she basically obviously, yeah, again quite confident, quite wanting to get involved, but again kind of maybe not always having her voice heard. Johnny Heaver, again I think he has some sort of face illness or issue or something, but again doesn't stop him from being confident and outspoken. He's very loud, he wants to get involved, and again sometimes like Emma he just is shut down. Dr. Jana Denzel, so I think he's a doctor of some sort, obviously dentist or something, and again in the first couple of tasks he was kind of just very much just observing, and then he became vocal. You've got Dean Franklin, again cheeky chappy lad from Essex. Chizola Chitambala, she seems very corporate, very, you know, corporate girly, business motivated, so yeah, very well spoken. So I think she's gonna, I hope she goes far. but then at the same time she doesn't want to, be too confident or too over cocky that, that's going to lose her the task or her place in the show. Carlo Brancati, he actually has a hair loss company so far, which probably would benefit myself, but again, very wanting to be heard and speaking and being very blunt, but just being able to just get on with the tasks. Yvonne, I think that's how you pronounce her name, Yvonne Walsh. So again, pretty corporate, and very strong accent. But again, it's just, difficult for, I guess, her voice to be heard as well. Anissa Khan, she's probably, again, like Mia, one of my favourite front runners at the moment. She's very confident, wants to get involved, putting her opinions forward, kind of, wanting to lead negotiations and sales and things like that. And then finally, Amber Rose Badrudin. She is also very attractive. She's gorgeous, she's young. I feel like she's going to have a long future ahead of her, whether it's in the business world or whether it's in the creative world or the media world or whatever. But again, they are your 18 contestants so far. So I think as of now, my top 3 females are going to be Mia, Anissa and Amber Rose. And then my top 3 males are probably going to be Kia, Max and I want to say Liam. So they're my top 6 as of now. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a review on episode 1. So episode 1 is here. So let's begin. So at the beginning of the episode, we found out that obviously many successful businesses are created by almost just one person. And for Lord Sugar's next investment, they were going to have a £250,000 injection into their company to obviously help them succeed. Dean has an air conditioning company, saying that he's usually missed a call. Emma S said that she sometimes has a 2-hour lunch. She's working the same hours as everybody else, but she's just working that little bit earlier. Johnny has a lot of experience working with young people. Emma R explained that she's slightly hard of hearing and has an online gift store. Nadia owns 4 hair salons, and Carlo is a hair transplant owner, knowing that his business is going to rise from £5 to £43 billion in the year 2026. So obviously Lord Sugar was talking to all of them, just kind of, picking a few of them out to ask what they do in terms of their business or where they want to go. And I think when Carlo was basically talking about his numbers, he was basically already trying to sell himself on day one, and Lord Sugar was like, well, let's just stop there because we're only on day 1 so far. And for the first task, they basically had to, in their teams, sell a tour with tickets, and also give an overall positive experience. So they split the team into 2 teams, the Glacier team, who was with Karen, and the Forest team, who were with Tim. So let's do one team at a time. So the Glacier team, you had Jordan, Liam, Johnny, Frederick, Amber Rose, Mia, Nadia, Yvonne and Emma S. Nadia explained that she was very strategic, very militant. Emma S said she had experience with both hospitality management and project manager by evening time. Nadia explained she was good at decisions and hopes Emma hasn't taken on too much by putting herself forward as project manager. So that kind of completely ignores what I said the first time when I actually said Emma was one of the weaker ones. She actually was the first project manager of her team in that first week. Liam explained the slopes and the schnapps drinks experience would be positive for them to do as the tour, and Emma S said that the tickets should be £175. It's, although a steep price, people are likely to pay that because they're on holiday, because they're travelling, and because they want to have that luxury experience. And that was the word that they all kept using during all the tasks: luxury, luxury, luxury. Nadia jumped in here saying that the price should be between 125 and 150. And Amber kind of backed Emma by saying, hang on, you need to sell the ticket prices high and assume you're going to sell high. Don't just start low, because then you're only going to end up going lower. Emma S said that for the person who's going to be the sub-team leader, they're obviously in charge of the negotiations, so she needed somebody who was going to put themselves forward to be able to do that. So she decided for the selling team it was going to be Johnny, Amber Rose and Liam, with Frederick as the sub-team leader. And for the tour team, those that were going to run the experience were Jordan, Mia, Nadia, Yvonne and obviously herself. Johnny decided to introduce himself to the company that they were obviously trying to buy tickets for, or the experience being sold to them from, and he managed to speak German in order to discuss the prices, and straight away, instead of kind of building rapport with the client, Frederick went straight in asking for what's your lowest ticket price, or what's the price that you would usually offer, saying that they usually would charge £70 per ticket. He asked for £35, which obviously was kind of a crazy price, and they ended up getting the £57 pounds or euros per ticket per person. Nadia explained that obviously for her team, they were asking for £175 for tickets. They needed to regroup because obviously they weren't selling any tickets so far and they were kind of all just running around. Yvonne said, should we try 149? And they ended up going to try the experience of sledging, which was obviously their team activity. Mia asked for £100 per ticket and Nadia jumped in at 85. With Mia basically explaining afterwards that it was a little bit disrespectful because obviously Mia was there trying to negotiate this price of 100, which could have been perfect, and Nadia's, I guess, yes, dropped the price down to 85 per ticket, but Mia probably could have got it down even less if, you know, there wasn't any collisions with the teams there. Emma managed to sell 4 tickets to someone for 335, with Amber Rose saying, well, hang on, that kind of equates to £80 only per ticket. Yvonne managed to sell a ticket for 65, Nadia 60, and again Nadia basically explained that she's not going any lower than the £60, she's a closer and that's just what she does. Frederick said that there needs to be a lot of facts but not too many to obviously bore the people on the tour. Mia managed to sell 3 tickets for £100 each. Emma said that they finally got all bums on seats and they had all 12 of their tickets sold for an average of around £70, with Nadia explaining the price was too high and Emma saying that that Nadia was cutting people off in terms of their deals before the sale was actually closed, and Amber Rose said we got to make sure we put on a fantastic tour. For the other team, that was the Forest team led by Tim. So this was Max, Keir, Carlo, Jana, Dean, Chizola, Melika, Anissa and the other Emma R. Anissa explained that she'd been on tours before and she obviously then put herself forward as the first project manager for this competition. She was offered £200 for the Eurobike tour with e-bikes and obviously honey and bread making, no less than £100. She said it's obviously something you can't really do anywhere else in the world, so that, as opposed to, you know, something you can do anywhere, was the option they wanted to go for, something different. And Dean explained that he was quite confident in terms of his selling techniques. So on the selling team you had Keir, Dean, Melika, Emma and Carlo was the sub-team leader, and for the tour team you had Anissa, Chizola, Max and Jana. Carlo basically said to his little mini team before they left the table, don't say anything about price first, you need to create value with the customer. And Jana explained that he wanted to lead the negotiations in terms of the tour. They were offering £130 per ticket, he backfired and said can we do 52, and they managed to get a deal £1,000 or €1,000 for 12 people to take part in this activity. Just wanted to make sure that everyone had a great time. Anissa said in terms of the tickets they wanted to try and get £200 on the tickets, giving them a 75% profit, which would include learning about yodeling in terms of communication. Carlo, for his selling team for the tickets, said that they needed to target potential people, and Dean jumped in saying they're not selling to people because they're targeting people who cannot ride electric bikes. With Carlo, obviously at this point he was kind of going up to like older people who maybe are not as able to ride a bike as younger people are, so obviously he was going up to them, kind of wasting their time when they were going to say no, when actually they could be targeting young, fit, athletic people who are going to enjoy going on this experience. Kia managed to basically close that deal with the old people, basically saying that obviously thank you very much for your time, we're moving on to obviously other people. And Carlo said you guys have to see where I'm going with this. Carlo told Anissa that they hadn't sold any tickets yet, with Jana saying that they needed to drop the price to 100, and Anissa saying they needed sales to be put in, praying that their team bring the price down. Kia managed to sell a ticket to somebody for 100, and also explained that he would be yodeling as part of that experience. And then he did rock paper scissors with somebody else and ended up them buying a ticket for 50. So obviously the person he sold a ticket for 100 has come over going, well hang on, why did you sell a ticket to them for 50 and me for 100? I'm out. With Carlo saying that they completely lost sight of the task. Max wanted the team to provide information and individual stops. Melika managed to get a ticket sold for 60. Emma R tried to get a deal and there was a no deal on one of her sales, and Kia basically explained that if they were to fail the task it'll be up to Carlo and Emma that were responsible, and they only made 6 sales of £375 in total. Anissa explained that £600 for the tour was unacceptable. The selling team are now becoming the masterclass team on money. They need to have good commission in terms of the experience. And Keir also promised that he was going to yodel, so obviously instead of him being on the team providing the food and drinks, he actually needs to now be on the activity team. So yeah, that was kind of a bit of an annoying thing for Anissa to have to deal with. Not only did they not sell the tickets at a good price, but he also promised something from a team he wasn't even supposed to be on, so he had to swap with somebody. Jana was in charge of commission, and Anissa said that they needed 200 in order to make back what they had spent, plus more. For Anissa's team, yeah, so back to the Glaciers team. So for Emma at MS and her team, Johnny explained the highlights of obviously the tour, giving a bit of a geography lesson with some of the facts about the mountains and where they were. And Frederick basically jumped in saying wherever you look there are mountains, and they weren't able to speak about where the Dolomites were and which direction they were in, which was probably one of the most important things for that experience. Nadia tried to get commission on the Shaps, so she initially went in at 65%, or they offered her 65%, she was asking for 38%, they said 20 was the best offer, and Mia explained that afterwards she would have gone for a more softer approach rather than just bombarding with the numbers, kind of do it a little bit more fun and, you know, relaxed. Frederick ended up playing Snowballs and Snow Angels. Amber was singing Robbie Williams' Angels because they were all dancing around in the snow, and Yvonne said that Shaps is strong, so yeah, that probably wasn't really her type of drink. They then went on to their sledging activity. Mia explained that they had fresh snaps. Nadia managed to get a sale of €21. Somebody managed to get a small bottle for €12 off of her, and Emma basically finished the task by saying Nadia was just a constant frustration for her. And then for Anissa's team and their activity in the forest, Jana explained that bitter was a key word for someone to come in and obviously close the deal 50-50, and they wanted to sell the honey at an 80% commission, and Emma said do the 50-50 method. Jana asked whether they would go 52% commission on the honey with 48% going to them, hoping that Anissa was happy with their deal, and that's when Emma jumped in, because I think she jumped in and said the word bitter, which then led him to go, oh, you know what, actually she's jumped in and said, you know, 50%, can we do 50? And then they managed to lose 2%, but gain a happy customer hopefully. Chisola was the yodeling instructor, and Keir basically said he had big boots to fill. He has done some yodeling, and obviously he sold the fact that he's going to do some yodeling as part of the experience, so we need to make sure he stepped up to that. Some of the questions that they were asking the beekeepers were how do bees mate, so talking about the queen flies high, 8 men can obviously create the babies with her at once, and then Carlo jumped in and said, you know, the questions need to be relevant to the audience we're having later. There's no point asking how bees are intimate, you need to be asking how, you know, honey is created and things like that. So I think he was taking it more seriously, but the others were trying to make it more fun and funny, because I guess it is quite funny to know how a bee reproduces. But yeah, I think Carlo just was very dominant in terms of like, no, we need sensible questions. Malika said that they seem to have rated the tour 11 out of 10, and in terms of how pollen was collected, she couldn't get the statistics right, so I think she said 80% water, and then that's when Jana jumped in and said no, it's 80% water that goes in, 20% water and 80% nectar that comes out, which is how you make the honey. So she got the numbers wrong, but luckily he was there to jump in and kind of back her up. Rather than embarrass her or make her feel like she was weak, he just actually jumped in and helped. Anissa managed to get 6 photos bought for €120. Keir got one for €15, and Nadia explained that she was not happy with the sub team. So that was kind of it in terms of the first task. I think both teams obviously struggled just because you're selling to the public, you're selling 2 completely different experiences. You had one team selling like motorbikes, fast bikes, you know, going for like a forest and, you know, yodeling and things like that. So you're going to want to target the younger, more active people, or older people who are more active. And then for the other team, it was more like the glacier, so like the sledging, the snowboarding, the going up a mountain, things like that. So again, more adventure-y people. So yeah, you don't want to be going for people that are in like a wheelchair, for example, or maybe you can, and maybe they do want to walk, or maybe they do want to, get on a bike or at least see the sights, but you'd have to make that experience accessible and, able for them to take part on, rather than just, something boring or something they're just not really going to enjoy. When we got to the boardroom, we started with Emma's team. So this was the Glacier team, and Lord Sugar basically broke it down that they obviously were trying to sell each ticket for £175, and the price was just tumbling down. Nadia explained they were standing around for 5 hours, it was a long day, and Mia jumped in saying there was a lot of multiple occasions when Nadia jumped in on deals, and it wasn't just her that obviously had mentioned that. Frederick said he would be held accountable on the deal that he made in terms of with the tickets. Obviously Emma had her strategy of the price to get, and he got that slightly lower price. And Johnny explained that he got a good foundation by building rapport, by speaking German with that person, and then obviously Frederick kind of just jumped in and went straight into what the prices were. So although they got a deal at 65, Karen revealed they would have actually got her down to £50 if they would have continued going along with building rapport. Johnny also explained he lost Dolomites, he didn't know where the Dolomites were. Amber tried to include karaoke and explained that it didn't really catch on. And then for Anissa's team, so Anissa explained that she'd obviously been on tours before, she wanted to maximise the sales and reduce the cost. Jana explained that he managed to get £52 per person on the ticket. Keir said it took almost 6 hours to sell the tickets, with Max saying that the team was still selling tickets for €200 and they weren't flexing off of that price, where actually Anissa had said if you need to drop the price, drop the price. Carlo explained that Keir had a rock, paper, scissors approach, with Keir basically saying that, there was a price that the customer wanted, and there was obviously the comfort price that they were able to sell the ticket for. So we kind of did rock, paper, scissors to either see whether it would be customer's price or comfort price, and either or would have still been fine. Anissa said that, again, for the ticket team, the fact that they had sold 6 tickets for £245 meant that they were already at a loss. The fact that they sold 6 tickets at such a low price meant they were already at a £245 loss because of what they'd already spent on the other activity. Anissa basically said that obviously in terms of the day out, Keir had promised yodeling to one of them, which obviously meant he had to switch kind of from one team to the other. So it was a bit of a mess, I think, for both teams. They both had their pros and cons. Glacier team, the pros is they were able to get people outside. I guess their cons were the singing, the snow angels, the, arguing about who was selling what tickets and selling to who. And then for the Forest team, again, I think it was kind of Keir doing the rock, paper, scissors. Wasn't the best attempt. I guess I understand his fact that he was trying to sell the tickets, but yeah, there's other ways to do that. And then again, the miscommunication and the having tickets sold for so low that you're already at a loss before you go into the task. So in terms of Emma's S's team, they spent €684 on the tour. In terms of their sales and money from photographs, they earned £914.15, no refunds. So their profit was £230.60. So for them, they were able to go to the house to have a welcome drink. Oh shit, no, because I haven't said the other team yet. And there were no refunds, so in total they had a profit of €230.60. And for Anissa's Forest team, they spent €620 on the tour. From their sales and photographs, they got £511.14. There were no refunds, but they were at a loss of €166 because of the price that they didn't get for the tickets and the cost of what their experience costed them. So for Emma's team, they were able to go to the house, have their first welcome drink. Nadia said it was amazing to win the first task, and Emma said she was elated to win. It was cutthroat, but she was happy to have won. And Anissa basically explained that in terms of not selling the tickets, they needed to have a new strategy, with Carlo basically asking how. Anissa said that Carlo was accountable. Carlo said that both Emma and Dean were accountable because they were not constant in the task. Keir sold 2 undervalued tickets, and Keir basically explained that Carlo was as unmotivating as a pillow, with Dean adding that Carlo was actually in the way. John has said that they didn't sell enough tickets and they needed to have some sort of ticket strategy, with Chisola saying that Carlo should have brought the price down. So obviously Lord Sugar basically didn't even allow the project manager, to bring people in. He just kind of said what he thought. He let Max, Chizola and Jana all go back to the house because it was kind of none of their problems. They were doing what they were doing, and yeah, the three of them weren't a reason for this task to have failed. So in the end, I think he had Dean, he had Anissa, he had Carlo, and he had Emma and Malika. So Lord Sugar basically said Anissa was the leader. Dean said there was no tickets sold and they needed to just target their customers correctly, kind of hinting that Carlo was just kind of going for anyone. Carlo basically said to Dean for him not to have been picky and to just up the energy, with Dean saying he basically wasted a 15-minute chat with a customer when actually they could have moved on to other customers. Carlo explained that Dean was already taking a back seat in the process, which wasn't good. And then Lord Sugar asked Emma F what she had done in this task, and she basically explained that I gave my all to this task, with Kia basically saying from a sales perspective I made the most revenue on ticket sales. Yes, and it wasn't the most standard way of doing it, but he helped both Malika and Emma in terms of making that sale, with Malika jumping in and saying, well, actually I didn't need help, I was persistent, I was the highest ticket seller at £80, or €80, and she was almost up to the sub-team leader level. Anissa said that she stood by every decision she made, and she's never been to Austria before, so she just had to use her strategy in terms of how they were making money on the tour and not spending too much money on the experience. Lord Sugar said that nobody stepped forward as PM at the beginning, and obviously Anissa then actually did put herself forward. And basically in terms of Carlo, he said it was no good that Kia was, doing this thing about rock, paper, scissors. Dean didn't say anything, Emma didn't say anything, and in the end Lord Sugar basically said, you know what, Emma, you are fired. So she was the first person fired from the process, because actually when Lord Sugar asked her what she wanted and why she wanted to be in the process, she didn't fight for it, and he basically said, I can't invest in someone that doesn't invest in themselves. Emma basically said that she made a mistake, and this is not going to stop her in the future. Anissa basically, obviously, when they went back to the house, said to the rest of the candidates, Lord Sugar doesn't like people who hide, with Amber saying there is no hiding in this process. So, that was it for episode 1. So if you did enjoy, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And until my next review, thank you for watching. We have 17 candidates left. Who is going to get fired in episode 2? Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.